There is something significant I want to share with you today, something that deserves your full attention, not because it is urgent in a fearful sense, but because it touches on the kind of clarity that can shift the way you see your present moment. Life has a way of moving so quickly that the important details can become blurred, and often the messages that matter most are the ones we postpone, hoping for a more suitable time. But sometimes the right moment arrives not because everything is perfect, but because understanding cannot wait any longer. What I want to offer you now comes from a place of respect, sincerity, and genuine hope for your path ahead. You may have felt, at certain crossroads in your life, a sense of uncertainty about what comes next. It is natural to feel this way, especially when responsibilities grow, choices expand, and your vision for the future becomes more defined yet more complex. What I am sharing with you today is meant to bring a sense of grounding, to remind you that clarity often begins with awareness, and awareness begins with simply hearing what must be said. Allow yourself this moment, free of distraction, so the message reaches you as it is intended, steady, clear, and supportive. This is not about creating concern or pushing you toward immediate action. Instead, it is about offering perspective that might guide you, encourage you, or help you recognize how capable you truly are. Knowledge, especially when it arrives at the right time, has the power to illuminate the choices that lead us toward the life we want to build. You deserve to understand the influences that shape your journey, not just from the outside world, but from within yourself, your strengths, your hesitations, and your aspirations. You may not realize it yet, but the moment you choose to fully acknowledge what stands before you is the moment your decisions begin to align with your long-term purpose. And sometimes, all it takes is one message, one truth placed gently into your hands, to shift everything that seemed uncertain before. The significance of what I am sharing is not in its urgency, but in its potential to open doors you may not have considered, or to remind you of the ones you have quietly closed without noticing. There are times in life when new information arrives almost like a mirror, showing us who we have become and who we still wish to be. As you reflect on this message, allow it to guide you toward greater self-understanding. Think of the moments when you felt at the edge of change, uncertain of whether to pause or move forward. Think of the questions that lingered in your thoughts, whether about your goals, your environment, or the people around you. And consider how even a small degree of clarity can make those questions easier to navigate. What you learn today may influence your decisions, your opportunities, and the direction you choose to follow. When life presents you with insight, it is not simply information, it becomes a quiet source of strength. Let it remind you that you are fully capable of stepping into what comes next with confidence and discernment. Every choice you make holds weight, and understanding the meaning behind that weight is what allows you to act with intention rather than hesitation. This message is also an invitation to reflect on how your life has evolved. The challenges you've overcome, the moments that shaped you, and the lessons you've gained through both success and hardship. These experiences have given you resilience, adaptability, and a deeper sense of awareness. That awareness becomes even more powerful when you allow yourself to see the larger picture, the possibilities waiting for you, the habits that may need shifting, and the potential that grows when you embrace knowledge with an open mind. As you absorb these ideas, consider the broader impact they may have, not only on you but on the people connected to your life, family, friends, colleagues. Each interaction becomes richer when you are grounded in understanding. Your actions influence more than you realize, and when you respond with clarity and purpose, you create a ripple effect that benefits everyone around you. Conversations become more meaningful, decisions more thoughtful, and relationships more stable when guided by awareness rather than uncertainty. This message also invites you to reflect on your responsibilities, the ones you already carry and the ones you may be preparing to take on. Wisdom grows from the ability to view responsibility not as a burden but as an opportunity to lead with integrity. When you approach your future decisions with steady confidence, you demonstrate not only growth but maturity. You show that you recognize the importance of the choices you make, and that you are ready to face them with balance and strength. As you continue listening, allow yourself to remain calm, steady, and receptive. The intention behind these words is not to overwhelm but to reassure. You are not expected to have everything figured out immediately. Instead, this is a moment of openness, a space where learning becomes a source of empowerment. When you understand why something matters, it becomes easier to act with intention, to communicate with clarity, and to move forward without fear clouding your vision. Let this message serve as a reminder that you are capable of navigating whatever comes next. You are allowed to pause, to evaluate, and to reconsider the direction you wish to follow. And you are equally allowed to grow, to change, and to pursue what aligns with your values and aspirations. The foundation for your next steps begins with awareness, and awareness begins with recognizing the importance of what is shared with you today. This is why I ask you to take this moment seriously, to listen not only with your mind, but with the calmness of understanding. It is not the urgency of the message that matters most, but the clarity that can arise from acknowledging its significance. From this awareness comes the ability to act with wisdom, to communicate thoughtfully, and to shape your future with intention and purpose. As you allow these reflections to settle within you, I want to guide you a little deeper into understanding why this moment holds so much importance for the path ahead. You may not always realize how the decisions you make, even the quiet, unnoticed choices, shape the direction of your life. But when you pause long enough to understand the meaning behind them, you uncover a sense of purpose that cannot be reached by rushing or overlooking what calls for your attention. Today is one of those moments that asks you to see beyond the surface, to recognize that information is not merely a collection of details, but a source of strength when used with intention. Think of the times when you were unsure about moving forward, when you hesitated at the threshold of change. Perhaps you wondered whether the timing was right, or whether you had enough certainty to continue. This message, and everything it carries, is meant to reassure you that clarity is not something you must wait for passively. It is something you cultivate by paying attention, by acknowledging what is placed before you, and by trusting that understanding, even if it arrives slowly, can be transformative. What you learn today may guide you toward opportunities you would have otherwise dismissed or overlooked. Sometimes the most meaningful progress comes from recognizing the value of knowing, rather than waiting endlessly for the perfect moment. You may find yourself evaluating the relationships and connections that shape your everyday life. There are people who support your growth, challenge your perspective, and remind you of your strengths when you forget them. There are also relationships that weigh on your mind, leaving you uncertain about how to respond or when to take action. Allow this message to help you sense the difference. Awareness will show you which connections nurture your progress, and which ones may require distance, change, or clearer boundaries. Your responsibility is not to force anything, but to understand what aligns with your values and what does not. When you gain clarity about the people around you, the choices that once seemed difficult become easier to navigate. This understanding extends to your work, your ambitions, and your personal hopes for the future. Reflect on whether the direction you are heading truly reflects the kind of life you want to build. It is easy to move through routines without questioning them, to accept environments or habits simply because they are familiar. But familiarity is not the same as fulfillment. The knowledge you gain today may invite you to reconsider aspects of your daily life that deserve attention. The goals you've set aside, the responsibilities you've taken on out of obligation, or the opportunities that sit quietly in the background waiting for you to notice them. When you understand the impact of these choices, you reclaim the ability to shape your future, rather than letting circumstances shape it for you. As you think about the significance of this moment, consider how often we underestimate the influence of insight. A single realization can shift your perspective in ways that seem subtle at first, but become profound over time. For example, recognizing your strengths may inspire you to take on challenges you once avoided. Acknowledging your limitations may encourage you to seek guidance or expand your skills. Understanding the dynamics around you, whether in your personal life or your environment, can help you respond with confidence instead of uncertainty. Knowledge, when embraced with openness, empowers you to make decisions rooted in awareness, rather than emotion or pressure. This message also encourages you to examine the habits that have shaped your recent days. You may discover patterns that support your growth, such as discipline, consistency, or the courage to communicate honestly. But you may also notice habits that limit your progress, delaying important decisions, avoiding conversations, or ignoring subtle signs that something needs to change. Understanding these patterns is not about judgment, it is about recognizing the power you hold to refine them. Growth does not come from perfection but from awareness, and today offers you an opportunity to gain that awareness with renewed clarity. Consider, too, how the information you receive affects those around you. The people who rely on you, who admire you, who look to you for guidance. They benefit from your clarity as much as you do. When you communicate thoughtfully, when you act with purpose, when you respond with calm discernment, you create an environment where others feel more secure and understood. Your choices influence more than just your own path. They set an example that encourages others to reflect, to grow, and to approach their own challenges with steadiness. As you explore the meaning behind these words, imagine how your future could unfold if you made every decision with this level of understanding. Think about the conversations that would become more meaningful, the opportunities that would become more visible, and the relationships that would grow stronger because you approached them with awareness. Knowledge does not remove difficulty, but it equips you to face challenges with resilience and clarity. It gives you the strength to navigate uncertainty without losing yourself in the process. You may begin to feel a sense of responsibility rising within you. Not a burden, but an empowerment. Responsibility becomes lighter when you understand the purpose behind it. When you know why something matters, you approach it with intention rather than hesitation. This is the kind of responsibility that encourages growth, maturity, and confidence. It is the kind that helps you lead with grace, communicate with honesty, and act with integrity even when circumstances are demanding. Think, for a moment, about the future you envision. Imagine the environment you want to cultivate, the goals you hope to achieve, and the roles you aspire to embrace. This message is meant to support that vision by reminding you that clarity is the first step toward progress. You cannot shape your future without understanding your present, and you cannot fully understand your present without allowing yourself to absorb the truth of what stands in front of you. When you welcome insight, you create a foundation strong enough to hold even your most ambitious goals. As you continue reflecting, let yourself breathe with ease. There is no pressure to know everything immediately. Growth is a process that unfolds with time, patience, and thoughtful consideration. The message you receive today is not meant to overwhelm you but to guide you, gently, steadily, and with the quiet assurance that you are capable of more than you realize. If at any point you feel uncertainty, remind yourself that understanding is not about perfection, but about awareness. The more awareness you gain, the more confidently you will move forward. Allow the weight of these reflections to settle in a way that feels calm rather than heavy. You may begin to see connections between your challenges and your strengths, between your questions and your answers, between your uncertainty and your potential. These connections are not accidental. They are signs that you are ready to understand more deeply, ready to see more clearly, and ready to act with purpose rather than hesitation. What you learn today becomes part of the foundation you will build upon tomorrow. As you move through this process, remind yourself that you are not alone in seeking clarity. Everyone faces moments when they must pause and reassess their direction, moments when new information requires them to think differently about their priorities. What sets you apart is your willingness to listen, to reflect, and to embrace the strength that comes from understanding. That willingness is what allows you to grow with confidence and to shape your future with intention rather than fear. Let this be a moment where your awareness begins to expand. Listen not only to the words themselves, but to what they invite you to consider. Your purpose, your relationships, your responsibilities, and the direction you choose to follow. With every insight, you gain the ability to act more thoughtfully, to communicate more clearly, and to respond more calmly to what life places before you. This is how clarity transforms into confidence, and how confidence transforms into meaningful progress. As you arrive at this final part of the message, I want you to recognize how far your thoughts may have traveled since the beginning. With each moment of reflection, you have allowed yourself to look inward, to consider your experiences, and to understand how the knowledge presented to you can shape your choices. That alone is a sign of growth. The willingness to listen, to pause, and to see beyond the surface. You are now better prepared to approach the next stages of your life with the composure and awareness that clarity naturally brings. I want you to continue thinking about the way new insights can influence, not just your next steps, but the way you interpret everything around you. When you receive information that carries weight, it becomes an opportunity to re-examine the values you hold close. Perhaps there are habits you have outgrown, routines that no longer offer fulfillment, or commitments that no longer align with your aspirations. This message encourages you to view your life through a lens of honesty and intention, allowing you to recognize where adjustments could lift you toward a more purposeful direction. It is not about changing everything at once, but about acknowledging the areas where growth is needed and choosing to respond with courage. As the meaning of this message becomes clearer, consider how your future may transform when guided by deeper understanding. Imagine the goals that once seemed distant becoming more achievable because you have learned to focus your energy more effectively. Think of the relationships that grow stronger when nurtured with compassion, patience, and clear communication. Even the challenges that once felt overwhelming begin to lose their hold when you approach them with a calm and informed mindset. You begin to see that clarity is not only a tool for decision making, it becomes a source of stability. Your awareness can also lead to meaningful conversations. Conversations that might never have taken place without this moment of introspection. When you share your thoughts with those around you, whether family, friends, or colleagues, you open the door to mutual understanding. Others may be facing uncertainties of their own and may find comfort in your willingness to express what you have learned. This process of exchange strengthens relationships, allowing everyone involved to grow in ways that enhance both connection and trust. It is through shared understanding that communities become supportive spaces where people feel heard and valued. Reflect for a moment on how your responsibilities have evolved over time. You have grown through experience, and with that growth comes a greater ability to make thoughtful choices. When you act with knowledge, you set an example of maturity and stability. Responsibility becomes less daunting when approached with awareness, because you begin to see it not as a burden, but as a chance to demonstrate integrity. You become more capable of recognizing what needs attention, what deserves patience, and what requires decisive action. This ability to discern is one of the most valuable strengths a person can cultivate. In your interactions with others, your understanding becomes a guide for communication. Speaking clearly, listening attentively, and responding calmly can transform even the most difficult discussions into opportunities for progress. Not everyone will react immediately or in the same way, and that is natural. Some people need time to process new information, while others may find comfort in immediate dialogue. Your role is not to control reactions but to foster an environment where openness is possible. When people feel safe expressing their thoughts, genuine understanding becomes easier to reach. As you continue absorbing this message, allow yourself to appreciate the steadiness that comes with clarity. You are learning to move through life not by avoiding uncertainty, but by understanding it. This is a powerful shift, one that gives you the confidence to approach challenges with resilience, and to engage with the world around you with a grounded mindset. The more you understand your experiences, the more capable you become of shaping them. Think of the future you want to build. In that future, there will be moments of joy, effort, challenge, and growth. But each of those moments will be guided by the awareness you cultivate now. Your choices will reflect your values more closely. Your relationships will be nurtured with intention, and your goals will be pursued with determination rather than doubt. The message you have received today is not the final answer to everything you will face, but it is a beginning. A reminder that understanding will always guide you toward the direction that aligns with your purpose. Let this be the moment when you acknowledge your ability to move forward with composure. You have the strength to reflect, the courage to question, and the readiness to learn. These qualities will help you meet your responsibilities with grace, respond to challenges with balance, and approach your future with a clear and steady vision. Clarity does not remove difficulty, but it gives you the resilience to navigate it thoughtfully. As you reach the end of this message, I want you to carry with you the understanding that awareness is an ongoing process. You will continue learning, evolving, and gaining insight through every step of your journey. Allow yourself to embrace each new experience with patience, knowing that every lesson contributes to your growth. Even when you feel uncertain, trust in your ability to find direction through understanding. Today, you have taken the time to listen deeply and to reflect with sincerity. This is something to value. You have acknowledged your thoughts, your responsibilities, and your hopes for the future. You have allowed clarity to guide you, and that alone brings you closer to the person you are becoming. When you choose awareness, you choose strength. When you choose understanding, you choose progress. When you choose reflection, you choose growth. Carry this message forward. Let it remind you that you are capable of making thoughtful decisions, of nurturing meaningful connections, and of shaping your future with intention. Allow it to inspire a sense of calm confidence as you move ahead, knowing that every moment of understanding brings you closer to the life you envision. You do not need to have every answer right now. What matters is your willingness to reflect, to learn, and to act with purpose. As this message comes to its close, let it encourage you to continue seeking knowledge, continue embracing clarity, and continue choosing paths that align with your values. You have the ability to act with strength, to communicate with sincerity, and to approach your future with steady determination. This awareness will serve you well in every choice you make. Thank you for giving yourself the time to listen, to reflect, and to grow through this moment of understanding.